and welcome to another one of your Warriors Group podcast. I am your host, Albert Ramos, and today we are going to put things into perspective because I really want to address this because there's too many leaders out there, and I'm talking about lieutenants, captains, majors, gunnies, first sergeants, E7s, E8s that are under a bad misconception on what is it that it means. And I'm talking directly to you that has been in, more 10 plus years in the military, has never bought a home because they want to reserve their, their VA entitlement to where they actually are going to retire. So one of the most common things that I actually hear is, I am going to buy a place in the duty station that I retire. Or the most common one that I really hear is, I don't want to buy a home in California because it is way too expensive. That is the number one thing that I always hear, right? And I respect it, right? I respect if you feel that you cannot, that you don't want to buy a home here in California, right? However, I want to put things into perspective, and I'm going to give you a couple of facts that I hope that you follow along. Fact number one. The average American is able to afford their first home by the age of 33. Another fact, the average homeowner in the military is able to afford their first home by the age of 22. How does this happen? Recruiting demographics show that our age groups that we are targeting to recruit is from age 17 to age 24. Okay. But what is one of the things that happen whenever you get married within the first enlistment, I would say, is you tend to get married. Our service members tend to get married at a very early age. What happens when they get married? They rate the BAH, or the basic allowance for housing. Not only that, after 90 days of service, you rate your VA entitlement, right? Now, a lot of leaders tell our young Marines to move to base housing. That is the easy button, right? Move to base housing. And I don't want this to show as if I'm trying to throw trash into base housing. I do disagree with one thing whenever it comes to living in base housing. If you live in base housing, at least at the bare minimum, please, let's educate our service members about home ownership. Because if not, it looks like I just recently went through a TRS in December, and whenever we were learning about the VA entitlements, almost everyone in the room, specifically the ones that have only been, one term in the military, were saying, man, how come I'm finding out about this right now? I've lived in base housing my entire term. Base housing. Stop monopolizing living on base. How about we start educating together our service members and veterans? How about we have them sign an SOU, Statement of Understanding, saying like, I understand that I am renting on base. However, I've been informed about my VA entitlements and about being able to utilize my VA entitlements while I am in the service in order for me to explore home ownership. I don't know, something among those lines. I don't make policy, but something amongst those lines. Guys, we have to ensure that we are teaching our service members at a very early age on how to develop generational wealth. How to make sure that our money starts working for us. Because what I want to ensure that we do is that most people join the military, specifically the Marine Corps. That's the hardest branch. That's a fact out there. To join, I don't want them to join and stay in just because of financial means, just because they are attached financially to the military. Because that's why we encounter the problems that we encounter in our military. I want to make sure that the leaders that are going to come long after me are leaders that are going to make a change because they want to stay in for the right reasons, not because they're financially attached to the military. And home buying, believe it or not, is directly impacted by that. Because if you're in your first enlistment and you end up buying a condo, trust me, by the age of 33, you're going to be in property number 2 or property number 3, collecting equity or collecting positive cash flow from that first property that you bought whenever you were a senior lance corporal or a corporal or an E4. That is facts, guys. That is facts. And going back to my original point of buying a home in California. And I get it, right? California, especially for the people that are from the South, Texas, from the people that are, from Alabama, that are used to seeing mortgages or homes not as expensive, right? I only have one question for you guys. Let's say you get stationed in California. When is the next time that you're going to be able to afford an investment property here in California? The answer is most likely you're not, because 20% down payment on a conventional or on a $500,000 to $600,000 home, that's more than $100,000 that you're gonna have to come out of pocket, right? So that's out the window. The VA is offering you to buy a home that you can call home for 3 to 7 years, keep the property, and then not have to pay absolutely anything on that home. I'm talking about down payment using a conventional home loan because you bought the home with the VA home loan. There's several things that you can decide to do after you decide to move it. You can either rent it, you can sell it, collect the equity, boom. There's a plethora of things that you can actually do. But when is the next time that you can do? And then, you know what? I'm gonna go a step further. I'm even gonna go a step further. I have a good friend of mine. He contacted me saying that he wanted to sell his home in Oceanside, California. A home that I sold for $860,000. Now, he made over $250,000 in the sale of his home. Okay. What he did was he took that money and he applied it to the sale of his home in the place that he wanted to retire. He almost paid cash for his new home. That is insane. That's something that you would have never been able to do if he would have rented for his entire time that he was a Marine. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to understand this, and this is a fact. Homes here in California appreciate in value higher and a faster rate than what homes anywhere else in the United States. Obviously, with the exception of a couple of other markets like Florida, maybe Texas, maybe New York, but homes here in California appreciate at a faster rate than the vast majority of the United States. So instead of just looking at a home that you're going to live in, look at a home as a possible investment that you will reap benefits and dividends for years to come. And stop telling your Marines that, or yourself really, that you shouldn't buy here in California if you're stationed here in California. Because the reality is that if you can, you should. Because facts, while some markets are still going down in home equity, guess what? This market is remaining steady here in California. And now, don't confuse what I'm saying. Don't confuse what I'm saying as in, they are the same as they were a year and a half ago. They're definitely not. They definitely grew 16 to 17% year over year and from 2020, 2021 into early 2022. And then in 2022, they decreased. But historically, homes here in California have appreciated anywhere from 3 to 4%, depending in the area that you're on, in the area that you buy, year over year. That's 3% year over year. If you hold on to that home anywhere from 5 to 10 years, you're golden. you're making money. You're definitely making more money that you would have saved scrapping up $150 off your rent. That's all I'm saying. So let's look at things from a different perspective, from a more open perspective, because we've been institutionalized. We've been programmed to think the way that we think. It's time for us to break away from that programming, exit the matrix, if you will, and start thinking like investors. Start thinking like people that have sacrificed, that have put their blood, sweat, and tears into this nation and into this country, and we should start winning. We should start winning. If there's anybody that should be winning, ladies and gentlemen, it's our service members and veterans. I would love to have an educated discussion with anybody that disagrees with me on this. Because our service members, our veterans are the ones to win. And not only that, us as leaders in the military should enable and give the tools to our service members, to our men and women in uniform to succeed, not when they get out, but while they are still active in this country. Because that is what, if there's anybody that deserves to live the American dream, it's us. It's our service members, our veterans in this country. So that is all that I have. And again, guys, what I would like to do is I would like to have an educated discussion. I will tell you this. This forum is open to anybody that is willing to have an educated discussion with me on this. So I invite you, write it in the comments. Do you have someone that you look up to that maybe disagrees with me? Show them this video. Do you have someone, do you think that you have what it takes to sit down in that chair right there and have an educated discussion on any of these subjects that I talk in my social media or in my YouTube channel? And please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this video with your personal opinion. So without further ado, guys, make sure that you go to the link in my bio, that you make sure that you get in contact with me, and I'll be able to help you out to give you all the information that you need in order for you to buy your next property. So I'll see you in the next one.